We just had a little bit of a mess, a glitchy mess, but that's okay. We don't get upset about that. So I'm starting a little late, about 10 minutes late. I want to double check from my folks that are in the audience. Let me know if you can hear me well. I know for those of you on Instagram, you can hear me just fine. But for those of you who are inside of my stream on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc., we're having to restart everything. So let me remove this caption that says we're going out and coming back in, because we're actually in now. If you are watching me live and you are able to hear me well, please let me know. I'm going to try to tap a few folks that are in our community that I know were watching. Yeah, it's like that sometimes. And actually, this week has been full of all of those different types of things. Here's what I'm going to do. Even if somehow this doesn't go well and it's not recording properly on live, yeah, I'm going live in multiple places. Even if you can't hear me well on Facebook, you can hear me, Marcia. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know. Yay, Shannon. She said, I sound great. Boldness coach, thank you for letting me know, Venice. Okay, we are go. We are live. We are well. Thank you. And there's my sister also, Miriam. Good to see you. Okay, let's breathe. Sometimes things happen and it's okay. And I know, yay, yay is right, Stacy. It worked. What I had to do, just so that you know, if anybody else is suffering from this issue that I just ran into, I'm on Restream right now, and I'm actually going live on Restream, and I have a bunch of like really high tech stuff connected. Look, when you keep it simple and you just use your microphone and your camera, which we're going to talk about in a minute here, when you just go with the basics, everything usually stays basic. When you start trying to elevate your game and add things onto it, that's when you're more likely to expose yourself to problems. And so you just need to be prepared. And part of that really is having the ability to be able to adapt and let it roll right off your back, right? So that's what we did. So I was spending time with my folks on Instagram Live and walking them through the issues I was going through and how I was fixing it. So yes, the more high tech you go, Stacy, the more high tech problems you can have, right? So please let me know if you all end up hearing me, my sound go out again, and then we'll try to just go real basic after that. All right, so I'm going to skip all the intro video and the fancy stuff tonight, and we're just going to talk. I just want to talk to you, and I'm going to talk to you as well on Instagram. For those of you who are watching, I do have a feature on, because I wanted you to see this. It's called Chat Overlay. So Chat Overlay is available to you if you're using Restream. I don't think that StreamYard has this yet. And for those of you on Instagram, if you were watching on YouTube at Get Noticed with Video, actually, I'm at Tanya Smith on YouTube. I want to keep my name there because my name is so common. It's hard to stand out with the name. But Get Noticed with Video in almost every other platform. When you go, you can actually see this, but there's a bar on the side, the right-hand side, where you can see all the chats. Now, the danger in this, I will say this before we really dive into the content, is that if somebody nutty shows up on my live stream, and this has happened, somebody shows up on my live stream that I didn't invite or that's not a normal part of my community, I have to quickly and in a hurry move them off the screen. Now, the key is to know and be familiar with your dashboard and know where things are. Absolutely. Trolls, Stacy, you are so correct. So we got to watch for that. Okay, let's talk about the topic. The topic is what to consider before you launch your live stream. And I wanted to talk to you about that. Yes, Jeanette, exactly. I wanted to talk to you about this topic because in the process of me preparing to launch last week for Stream Bosses Academy and to share out the code and to let people know, hey, we're opening the doors and all of that, there were questions that came up. And I thought, you know what, it would be good if I shared some training that talks about things that you can do to prepare yourself before you do live video. Because to be honest with you, there were a few people that I said, you're not ready for Stream Bosses Academy. And the honest reason why I was transparent with them when they wrote and asked or called and asked is because there's a couple of things that you really need to know before you really say, hey, I'm committed to doing a live stream show or series. There's some things that I really want you to think about as it relates to your business, as it relates to you being an entrepreneur. And I want to be a responsible coach and a responsible entrepreneur. That's why I'm telling you these things. I'm telling you these truths. So there are things that I want you to really kind of consider and think about before you jump in to that next program and, pay for a subscription or buy that next workshop or pay to go to that live conference or whatever it may be. You've got to think about some things that are basics first. It's always you start with the essentials first. Okay. So I want to share with you at least 3 things. I'm going to say 3 plus 0.5 things. Okay. That I know are really pertinent for you to think about. And these are things when I said, hey, I'm going to do a live stream every week for an entire year. When I committed to that, I had already thought through many of these things. So it wasn't like I was new to business, and some of you are. Okay. And even though I wasn't new to business, there were some things I had to work on as well to really get to the place to where I felt like my live stream and the show would be successful. So, and yes, Michelle, I can see you now. Awesome. Okay, so here's what you want to do as you are thinking through your strategy and you're thinking about whether or not it's time. Is it the right time for you to do a live stream show or series? Here's tip number 1. I'm going to pop it up on screen. Tip number 1 is, first of all, who are you talking to? Who are you going to be talking to in your show or series? Who? Because if you don't know who you're speaking to, your message is not going to be clear and it's not going to attract the people that are most likely to be those who invest with you in your services, programs, and products. Okay. So who are you speaking to? Who is your audience? And I like to call it an MV3, your most valuable video viewer. I taught a class on this, I don't know, maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. Some of you were in the webinar on the MV3. So your most valuable video viewer, who is that? And if you know who it is, I want you to type it in the comments. If you know who your people are. So I'll tell you who my people are. I'm really crystal clear on this now. I didn't used to be, but I was when I committed to starting a series. I immensely enjoy working with coaches. I immensely enjoy working with consultants and working with course creators. And the majority of the coaches, consultants, and course creators that I work with happen to be women. I know they happen to be of a certain age demographic. I know that they happen to be usually in a health and wellness type of industry. So I'm very clear on who I'm targeting, on who I'm speaking to. So when I'm looking into the camera, I know who that person is. I know who my most valuable video viewer is. And because I am speaking directly to that person or those people in that group, they really hear me, right? See, there's a difference. There's 2 ways that you can go about marketing your business. So again, I'm just speaking from the heart. I don't have a script here, but I do have some points. I've got 3.5 points I want to make. But in this space, I really want you to hear me on this. There's a couple of different ways that people tend to market. Either you are marketing by chasing after your potential leads and clients, or you are marketing by planting a flag somewhere and saying, here I am. And I've done both. Okay. Let me wave at some folks on Instagram. I've done both. I've chased. And let me give you an example. When I first started out, I was doing direct sales. Okay. When I first started doing any type of business, my very first business venture was somebody approached me in the mall and said, "Hey, you live in Dallas. Your skin, it's so pretty. I think you should sell X." I won't even say what it is, right? But you can already guess, right? And one of the things that I learned through my mentorship as a mentee in that space was everybody with skin is your customer. That's a total crock. So what was happening though is because I believed that everybody with skin was my customer, is I was chasing people. I was pursuing my clients. I was going after them. I was trying to hunt them down like the woman hunted me down in the mall and hoping that because of the numbers somehow it would just shake out. You can't do that with digital marketing. You can't do that in the online marketing space. It's very difficult to do that unless you have an unlimited budget for your advertising. I want you to think about that. If you literally are trying to pursue anybody with skin and you haven't gotten clear on who you're talking to, what's going to happen is your advertising dollars will be spread really thin and really fast. They'll be gone real quick. So unless you have an infinity amount of dollars to spend on marketing and advertising, you will not reach your people. So what I learned to do, and I'm seeing some of the comments here, yes, awesome. What I learned to do is to plant a flag. I learned that I wanted to define who is it that I think will be the ideal target audience for me? Who is going to be the person that I want to talk to that I feel like I can most affect and impact? Whose life can I transform because of what I know that I can share with them so that they too can have the transformation similar or better than mine? And as I thought about that, I thought, you know what? This is where I'm going to plant my flag. I'm going to plant my flag in the space that I grew. I grew up as a coach in my business. I started out as a career coach. So a lot of people that still follow me are career coaches, right? I started in that space and I recognized that it was a space I enjoyed playing in. I loved the people in that space. I love being able to connect with people in the coaching, consultant, and course creator industry. But not only did I love them, I learned that the more I spoke, the more I shared my story, the people that were showing up were the people in those spaces. Now, what I want you to understand is it doesn't mean just because you plant your flag on a hill and say, "This is who I'm talking to, this is who I am, this is my story." Just because you do that, it does not mean that you're excluding people, although you may. Okay. And I've gotten clear on that too, but that's for another video. It's not about exclusion. It's about making sure that you've stated clearly who it is you're speaking to, because that's how you determine your most valuable video viewer. That's how you learn to speak into the camera to the person who is most likely to really get what you're saying. You're using phrases and words and imagery and visual. You're using stuff that reaches their ears. They know you're talking to them, right? So, who is the question? The first tip that I want to give you as you're considering before you launch your live stream videos, before you get that series or that show in mind and you've named it and all those other things, I really want you to get clear on who it is you're talking to. Okay. And so some of you are crystal clear. Stacy says she's talking to entrepreneurs, content creators, business owners. Okay. And that's a little broad, Stacy. So I want to challenge you. What type of business owners do you love, 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 and feel passion for? And which of those business owners loves you back? Like, is there a trend? Is there a theme? Is there a theme to the people that are coming to you? You know, I was working with one of my clients who realized at some point that the theme for them was that they really absolutely enjoyed working with divorcees. They were working with women who were in a divorce situation, who were looking to restart, to kickstart their life in the second phase, right? They enjoyed it and they started to attract more and more people in that space. And they built a community around those women, right, that fell into that category. So Absolutely, absolutely. African American women over 40, single moms. Okay, love it, love it, love it. Yep. So we're getting crystal clear. Your most valuable video viewer, who is that? That's number one. Because then, as you start to prepare for your live stream launch or your live series, then you can be really clear in your marketing material about what it is that's a pain point for the people that are going to be watching your show and how you're going to address that. Homeschoolers, yes, awesome. So, getting really clear, who am I talking to? The second tip is, and this is logically the next thing, right? What are you talking about? So the first tip is who. The second tip is what. What are you talking about? Because when you start your live stream show or series, there are a couple of things, there are some really relevant reasons that I think you really need to kind of hone in on that I'm about to share. One thing that you want to be mindful of as far as the what is that you want to know, and absolutely. So, Benice loves working with women who want to find the courage to live a bold life. Women typically for her are between the ages of 45 and 60. So, she's got real clear. So, this what are you talking about? What are you talking about is going to be important for a couple of reasons. One, it's important because it gives you content. Instead of you jumping on the video and being like, well, hey y'all, so I'm just outside on my porch today and I just thought I'd do a video. Instead of doing that, which sometimes you might do that, and you know what, once you've built community and you've created that know, like, and trust factor with the folks that are watching regularly, you could do that. But when you're just starting out and you're creating your live stream series, people want to know, is you talking about something that I care about? Because if you're not, bye. I'm on to the next video. So, what are you saying? What are your topics? Are there themes to what you talk about? So, it's important because the people that are going to be watching you want to make sure. They want to make sure that they're not wasting their time by popping into your live stream feed. Okay. Every time I pop on this camera, including tonight when I had 10 minutes of glitches, every time I pop on here, there are people that join and then they jump off every single time. I don't get upset about it because I recognize that there are going to be topics and there's content that will catch the attention of some. And to me, and for me, and maybe for you too, I believe that those who stay and those who get the message were meant to be there. I don't have a problem with that. Just like I don't have a problem with people who unsubscribe from my email service because the message then is no longer relevant for them, right? That's okay. We need to get comfortable that we are not for everyone and everyone is not for us. So, again, planting the flag, what is your content about? It's okay to be really clear about what that is because the more clear you are, not only will you attract, again, the audience that's meant for you, but you also will do something that you may not know you're doing. And this is you're training the social platforms to know what your keywords are. You're training the social platforms to say, okay, so her category is this. This is who we need to show her stuff to. YouTube is going to be a perfect example for you because think about it. If you create a channel right now and today you're talking about National Dog Day and you're just focused on your dogs and all their habits, and then tomorrow you're talking about relationship building, and then the next day you're talking about engineering, or you're talking about fixing the faucet in the front of your house. Okay, so these are three totally different topics that have nothing to do with each other. There is no obvious connector. There's no obvious theme that's going on. And so the thing that happens is YouTube is looking at your algorithm. They're looking at your content like, well, what is she a pro at? Is she a pro at outdoor faucets or dogs or relationships? So if they're having to question, they're not even gonna mess with you anymore. They're just gonna say, "Okay, you're on your own. Figure it out." Right? And it makes it very difficult for you to come up with the right keywords and themes to put into your description, your title, and all of those things do matter when it comes to your live stream videos. They matter because the more consistent you are with the topics that you cover and the themes and the trends, if there's connecting points between the topics and the videos that you're talking about, it's going to make it easier for those streaming platforms to recognize, that's a pro in this space. So I know that there has been like this thing lately where a lot of people talk about being multi-talented and I can't think of the actual word right now. And I get it. I know because there are a lot of us that are multi-talented and we just got a lot that we can share and give. But I want to encourage you to think about as it relates to video and your strategy for marketing it. How can you create and Stacy put hybrid professional. That's a new term. I hadn't even heard of that one. But yeah, if you're laughing. I got to pop that up on screen. That's too funny. But here's the thing. What happens when that happens is that the algorithm, the people, that's you, Stacy, the streaming platforms, so Facebook, YouTube, et cetera, they don't know what your theme is, and so they're not going to be more likely to boost you in the feed. Facebook in particular and YouTube in particular, okay? So I want you to really be thinking about, how can I hone in and own and plant my flag in a space so that YouTube recognizes that this is what I'm an expert at. This is where I'm a pro. And I can tell you this from experience because back in the day when I was kind of all over the place and just creating videos just because I love to create videos, and I was like, hey, it's going to be a hobby and I'm doing it because it's fun, right? I wasn't thinking about monetizing. I wasn't thinking about being organized. And frankly, I had no clue. I wasn't going anywhere. You can see it now. I mean, I've been around for a while, but my YouTube is very minimal. I'm just about to hit 1,000. And what happened was I jumped from maybe 500 to 950 or so in a very short amount of time. And in that time that was short, in that time, the reason I believe that the jump occurred is because I got smarter. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to focus on live stream video training. I'm going to focus on Facebook Live. That's going to be my main squeeze. Like, that's where I'm going to play. I'm going to talk about Facebook groups. I'm going to talk about this. All these things were connected, and I created my 4 pillars. So think about in your own business, what pillars are at the core and the foundation of what you talk about. And Venice, you got some really good stuff in here, which I absolutely love, because she's talking about how clear she is on what her vision for her business is. She says she's bold, becoming out loud daily. That's what bold stands for. Building in your genius. So that's big. And then bad, blessed and distinctive. That is crystal clear stuff right there. That's what I'm talking about. So she's got pillars. So everything she talks about, her content and what she shares on videos, all of those things that she's sharing on videos, those will end up helping her to boost her video, her streams. Okay. So I'm going to keep going, Stacy. I saw the note about broadcast paused. I'm going to keep going in case I need to just share the recording later. But I want you to think about your pillars. For me, it's confidence building, content creation, consistency, and conversion into clients. Okay. So I know what my 4 pillars are. And the more clear I got about that, and the more consistent I was about putting content in place and talking about topics that were relevant in those spaces, because they're all related, the more YouTube and Facebook said, okay, we get it. We get it. We know what she's talking about. Now we know who to send her to. We know how to put her stuff up in the feed. So I want you to really be thinking about that as you start planning out what your live stream series or show is going to look like. What's the theme? What are you talking about? That was number 2. So we did who, We talked about defining your most valuable video viewer. And then we talked about the what, which is what are you talking about? What are your topics? So the when is number 3. So who, what, and when. The when. So as you start thinking about your live stream video show or series, I want you to really consider this. Realistically, what can you commit to in your calendar? I was listening to Mari Smith this week because she's hosting a program right now where she's teaching how to leverage organic reach and growth in Facebook. And one of the things she shared, I was like shaking my head like, yeah. She said you can't just put out content once. You have to be consistently over and over again putting out content. In fact, I think she gave a number of like over a 30-day period you need to be putting out, for instance, a live video at least once a week. And about the 30-day mark, you're going to see things start to change and you're going to see your reach start to build. This is one of the reasons why when I said, hey, I'm going to do a live stream series and I'm going to commit to doing once or twice every week for an entire year, it was because I wanted to see and not just be like, okay, well, I'm going to put a couple out there and then see what happens. I knew nothing was going to happen because that's not enough consistency. You need to be in it for the long haul. You need to be committed to doing what you're going to do for a stretch of time. And I would say for those of you who are brand new and you're thinking about doing a live stream series or show, I want you to commit to at least 30 days, if not longer. At least 30 days. This is one of the reasons why my coaching program is 90 days, because one of the things I noticed with earlier coaching that I was doing is that I couldn't tell if it was sticking. I wanted to see, okay, so is this what we're teaching here? Is it sticking? Is it working for my clients? So give yourself enough time. And when you commit to a time frame, you also need to commit to a frequency. So if you say, okay, I'm going to try for 30 days, what's the frequency going to be? Is it once a week? Is it twice a week? Is it going to be for 10 minutes? Is it going to be for an hour? Is it going to be for 30 minutes? What do you believe realistically can fit into your schedule or your calendar? You need to think about that and jot it down. So whatever method you use to calendar things, because as I always say, my kids know this since they were this high, if it ain't on the calendar, it don't happen, right? So put it on a calendar, put it on a schedule, put it on your phone if you need to put it on your phone to get an electronic alert, put it in your planner, your plum paper planner that you write in. It's so beautiful. It's got all these stickers. Pop yourself a sticker there that has a video camera on it because you know that's your day that you're going to get on camera. And if you're not doing live stream, like actual real-time live, like I am right now in this moment, then consider doing pre-recorded live. So one of the things I'm teaching a lot of my clients right now is how to really leverage apps like OneStream. And now StreamYard has even introduced a pre-recorded version, right? And what happens is you're still getting the benefit of the live stream juice, but it's a pre-recorded video. Now, personally, it's not my top preference because I love the interaction of lives, like real lives where I can engage and you can tell me, hey, your audio's jacked up. Or you can tell me your broadcast is paused or whatever it is you need to tell me. And I love being able to respond back to you in real time and to answer your questions. And speaking of that, I didn't say this, but if you do have questions, feel free to put those in the comments and I'll be circling to make sure that and scanning to make sure that I can answer those. Okay. Try to keep them related to the topic, if you will. We do have our office hours tomorrow for those of you who are members of the Stream Like a Boss community. So let me make sure I pop that up. If you are a member of our community on Facebook at Stream Like a Boss, feel free to join us for office hours tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern. Okay. because we're going to be answering questions. And actually, we're going to be talking tomorrow about a lot of the trends that are happening right now in the realm of video. One of the things that I've heard that's happening is that Reels is going to be coming to Facebook. So we want to talk about that and some other things that have been popping up. All right. So getting back to the content and making sure that you know what our recap is. So the when you will schedule is the last tip. And that when is about how often, what day of the week, how much time will you dedicate to doing your stream. Is it going to be a 5-minute stream that you do every day, every morning at 8 a.m.? Some people I've seen do that successfully. Personally, I don't want to commit to every morning because every morning I'm not feeling like getting on video and being videofied. I'm not going to have it all together every morning. It's just not going to happen. And frankly, I don't really even like to talk in the morning. So that doesn't work for me, but that's me. So for you, think about what works. I know Michelle is a Monday morning person. So all of her videos tend to be on Mondays, and she's trying to help you to master your Mondays. That's her theme. That's what she talks about. So that it makes good sense that she's going to be on every Monday. So what makes sense for you realistically that you can fit into your calendar? Those are the 3 primary things that I want to talk about. And I'm going to give you that 0.5 in just a second, but let me first recap the 3. So the first one is define your most valuable video viewer. Who's your audience? Who are you talking to? Number 2 is what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are your content themes and trends? And some people call them buckets. Like, what are you saying to people? And what are you using as your topics and your keywords that will help you to be seen, right? The trend to be noticed by the social media platforms where you're spending time. Number 3 is what schedule will you adopt? So what's your schedule going to be so that you can stay consistent? Because if you're not consistent enough, you do all that work for that one video for what? Right? So you've got to continue to put out amazing content. And it's not always going to be amazing. It's not always going to be super stellar, magnificent, right? But you do want to put effort and intention and purpose behind what you're sharing. And you want to stay on topic for the reasons we've already talked about. So who, what, and when are your 3 main questions or main tips to consider. The 4th, and I'm going to give you this 0.5 because some of you are sitting there and you're thinking, and I know a few folks that were on LinkedIn, I'm thinking, I think they have this question, so I want to answer it. Even though you haven't asked it in here, I don't see it yet. If you are wondering, before I go live, before I do my series or my show, what kind of stuff do I need? What kind of equipment do I need is what I'm getting at. I knew somebody's going to ask that question or is wondering right now, and you're thinking, she hasn't even touched on that. So I'm going to touch on it, but I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because we have a lot of videos where we talk about streaming equipment and stuff that you need to have in place. What I will tell you is if you're brand new and you're just starting out, and see, Shannon said that was her question. I knew it was going to be somebody's question. So yay. Thank you, Shannon, for asking. See, I was reading your mind. If you are wondering what should you start with as far as physical and tangible stuff, equipment, gear, the best thing I can tell you is if you're getting ready to prepare to do a video stream or series, one of the things you want to make sure you have is good lighting. Good lighting, right? And that doesn't mean that you go out and you spend $1,000 on a lighting kit and shadow boxes and key lights and all that. No, I mean, if you have a place in your home or office where you're going to be recording and you have a nice window with sunlight that comes through and you can record at a time where you're going to get the best of that light on your beautiful face, then use that. So lighting you want to think about. You also want to think about your camera. So your webcam, if you're using a webcam and you're not just using your smartphone, which by the way, smartphones work. I'm using my smartphone right now to do Instagram Live. So for folks that are in Instagram Live, we're just doing it from the phone. Your phone can work just as well, and it's not super expensive. There's my uncle. Thank you for your support. So think in terms of simplicity when you're first starting out and you're creating that show or that series. Like, you don't need to go out and spend a lot of money. Do not invest a lot of money into gear until you know that you're committed. I say this all the time, but I got to repeat it and say it again. Wait until you know you truly are committed and you're taking it to the next level. But starting out, you literally can just use a window with some nice natural lighting and your phone. Now, if you don't want to use your phone or you're ready to use a webcam, you can start simple and really affordably by using just a plain old Logitech from the C920 series. So either C920 or C922. Either one of those work really well and they are sufficient and they're not super pricey. Okay. If you're looking for a microphone, what I often tell people is before you go out and you spend the money on the big Blue Yeti or the Rode or there's all kinds of goodness, Elgato Wave, there's all kinds of wonderful, beautiful microphones, and your sound does matter, as we noticed earlier. Your sound does matter, but do not go out and spend, because you can end up blowing your entire gear budget on just a microphone. Instead, think about the $20 lavalier mic. You can go on Amazon. As a matter of fact, let me pop up my Amazon store, because some of you are probably wondering, well, where do I go and what are some of the suggested ones that we use? So I've started being more, thoughtful about this and making sure I have these links ready for you. So this one, streamlikeaboss.shop, has my gear, my recommended gear. There are lavalier mics that literally can connect to your shirt, to your lapel, okay? Or they can connect to your undergarment for less than 20 bucks, and that gives you sufficient sound. So you don't need to go out and spend a lot of money. Before you start thinking about, I didn't mean to pop that up. Before you start thinking about those things, though, the tangible things, I want you to think about the soft skills. I want you to think about the things that we talked about, the strategies. First, I want to encourage you to really think about your who, what, and your when before you even ever start shopping and spending the cash on the gear. Okay. All right. So I'm scanning to see if I see any questions. I know I read some minds on some questions, but if you have other questions, please don't hesitate to put that in here. Stacy, I love that your what is monetizing online using social media. So that's a very specific topic. And the more specific you can get, and the more everything you talk about falls within that realm, the easier it's going to be for you to get ranked and to get seen and to be visible on your social platforms. Yes, yes, yes. And Jeanette says she loves the flag concept. Yeah, instead of chasing after potential audience members, plant a flag and tell people this is where I am. I'm standing here for you. I'm standing here for you, with you on this topic, right? All right. Okay. Well, it looks like we got back on track, even though we had a little rocky start. We got back on track, y'all. I hope that you have enjoyed the tips. I hope that you can use them and apply them as you're starting to prepare to do your own live stream video or series. If you do have questions, if there's something that I can help you with, first of all, I highly encourage you to like, follow, and subscribe, because you want to stay in touch so that you never miss a training. So I understand, as of lately, one of the tips is to, if you're on Facebook, to save me as a favorite. So save at Get Noticed with Video as one of your favorites so you don't miss it when we go live. And also, I encourage you and invite you to be part of our community, because that's where I spend the bulk of my time, is inside my community at Stream Like a Boss. And now we have a brand new community of Stream Bosses in our Stream Bosses Academy, which I'm real excited about. So if you want to know more about that, just DM me from whatever platform you're on right now. I'm going to share one last link, and this link will just get you to wherever I am on Thursdays. Wherever the platform of your choice is that you like to play, you'll find it at streamlikeaboss.tv. So LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, etc. You'll find your space there, and just go ahead and click the bell, save me as a favorite, share with a friend, all of those things, right? All right. Looking forward to seeing all of you who are in the community, in the Stream Like a Boss community. We have our office hours tomorrow. So we'll be on Zoom and we'll broadcast hopefully live into Facebook and to the group only. It is exclusive to my Stream Like a Boss group. So definitely be a part of that if you're interested in joining the conversation. And we're going to talk about reels and some other video stuff. And we're going to just have some fun and get to know each other and say hello for about 30 minutes. So, okay, folks, have an amazing rest of the week. And I will be back on next week. And next week, we're not going to have these issues with the audio stuff. Everything is going to fly in formation. And even if it doesn't, we're going to be okay. All right. Have a good one. Take care of yourself.